Alright, in this video, it's basically I'm gonna call it a Middle East perspective. Um, a lot of people that know me know that I have been to the Middle East, Iraq, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia in particular. Um, with my time there, although combat related, you do have time to take in the locals and some of the customs that actually happen on a day to day basis. Uh, I've always had the feeling and the impression that there is a lot of tension in the Middle East, and particularly with me in Iraq. Anyway, um, obviously there was a foreign army in their country, so there's going to be tension anyway. But just the tension between the people, you could feel, and there's just this gloom that hangs over the air, and you can just feel the rivalries of the tribes and of the men and status, as far as you could even go as far as status in religion, as far as Islam is concerned. And you have secret Christians running around posing as Muslims, afraid to show that they're Christians so they don't get killed or anything like that. Which, for a lot of people, it's hard to believe that actually under Saddam there was actually some Christians that were able to be out in the open. Not a lot of people know that, but there were actually Christian churches. It was just extremely um, rare for them to be very public and outspoken about it. But in any case, there were, um, especially for the last 2,000 years, 1,500 years since Islam. Um, the Middle East has been back and forth between uh, Christianity and Islam in particular. Although you do have other religions that were somewhat common in the area. Obviously, paganism um, is a big one under the Romans, under the Greeks as well, with Alexander the Great. Uh, he conquered all of Baghdad. At the time, they would have considered it Persia. Um, but as far as like the Middle East in general, from a Middle East perspective, I think that it's always been a melting pot between East and West. And you have hints of each of the cultures, obviously from the Orient and then from the West, which would be the Romans or the Greeks. Some would argue that that's how thousands of years ago the changing of Chinese statues from being one solid piece of the eye to actually having a pupil, like, which is more Greek. Some people would argue that that trade somehow got passed through the Middle East, which undoubtedly is probably what happened. The Middle East has always been a center for trade, and North Africa as well. Um, in any case, I think that you can't depict the Middle East strictly in a biblical point of view or strictly in a Quranic point of view. I think that there is such a mesh and such a melting pot of bloods and culture and religion that the Middle East is extremely unique. You have Arabs, obviously. You have people that are descendants of Alexander's army that are Greek in blood. They are lighter color in skin, lighter color hair, eyes, things of that nature, as well as descendants of the Roman armies. You have, mixed with that, you have remnants of the Ottoman Empire and some of its political and economic, ideals and how they stuck around. You have remnants of the Sumerians even to this day. Some of the architecture, some of the way things are done as far as day-to-day living, and it all kind of combines into its own unique nature. And in a way, I believe that has actually spread to other parts of the world. Mainly, I would pick probably India and places like that, how some of that culture has spread, as well as you have some of the customs of India that are in the Middle East, although India is considered Asia. So it all kind of melds together there. So I don't think that picking a Bible point of view would be very smart as far as anyone's view on the Middle East is concerned. I think that if you want to learn about the Middle East, you really have to take in all of those things that I mentioned. You have to take in the Romans, you have to take in Greek culture, you have to take in the Orient and its time trading through there. You have to take in the Egyptians, you have to take in the Phoenicians, you have to take in so many different cultures that spread throughout the region that left their mark. You have to take in Islam, you have to take in even the Bible. In a lot of cases, you even have to take in Judaism, from thousands of years ago. But all of that left a mark in that area. I think the one country, in my opinion, and this is just strictly me, that stands unique in itself, that has really its own culture, and the people are proud of it. People may not think so, but they really are. The true Iraqi people are proud of Iraq, and I think that Iraq really has a very unique culture and people, in relation to the entire Middle East. They have a sense of Arabism, of course, and a sense of Islam, obviously. However, they have their own sort of aura to them, and that would, in my opinion, be due to their history. You have, Persia, you have Babylon, you have Ur, you have Nineveh, I believe is the pronunciation, or Nineveh, I can't remember, but in any case, it's extremely unique to Iraq. And you also have, remnants of the Sumerian empires that, in particular, is unique to Mesopotamia, Iraq. So I think in generalizing the Middle East, Iraq is separate from that, and I think that they are their own unique culture. So that's just my perspective on it.